holds barred.
No homework.
Okay.
And I know you, so yeah.
Well, listen, I know you too. And that's a really good thing because I think, the name of this episode is called Sculpting a Reputation.
Okay.
And I think that your reputation precedes you in many ways. First of all, you are famous worldwide for permanent makeup, but to know you is to love you for most people.
Yes.
For
Agreed.
most people.
Agreed. I am not loved by all.
Same. When you were originally saying like, yes, I'll totally do your podcast, whatever you need, you call me, just ask. Anything that you need, just ask. I went ahead and asked a bunch of people to describe Carla Ricciardone. And I want to remind you that I've been in 6 countries in 30 days. So I've asked a lot of people to describe Carla Ricciardone. Open book.
Open book.
Put your own mask on, then proceed to help others. Different than anyone I've ever known. Makes no apologies to live life on her own terms and for the business she has built. Fueled by betrayal. Beautiful, brilliant, business-minded, ruthless.
All accurate so far.
Bullocks the size of houses. I bet you can't imagine who said that one. Married with a boyfriend. What's next? What is your biggest ambition? I don't know, to be Carla Ricciardone. That one really killed me. I was like, you want to be Carla Ricciardone? I don't think that you can. Somebody already is, Do
you have any idea how strange this is to me? First of all, that people know me.
Yeah.
And that they know me extremely accurately. Whoever you asked, none of that is wrong. I mean, it's all extremely accurate. I grew up in a really small town. Yeah. I went to school with 60 kids. Like high school had 60 people in it, not my class, my high school.
That's crazy.
So really, really small. And I was the outcast. I was not popular at all. I was constantly bullied and teased, and to be known and to be seen in that positive way and an inspirational way, or even just to have somebody know my name is so surreal, even still to this day. My dad was recently on a flight home from Seattle, and he was sitting aisle and window with his wife, and there was somebody in the middle. Don't ask me why, they just didn't switch.
That happened to us too.
They didn't. And they got somehow on the topic of permanent makeup. And, my dad, God bless him, he's in his 70s. And he's got no real idea what I do. He gets very confused. He just doesn't know the name of my company. I'm still Carla. There's not even an R in my name. So they were talking, and he's like, yeah, I think that's what my daughter does. She does this thing with the makeup, and she's got a company. It's called I don't know, Sculpted something, whatever. And the woman's eyes are now getting bigger and bigger as my stepmother's describing it. And he's like, yeah, I don't know why she chose to do this. She had a really good career, and we're all kind of confused. And the lady pulls me up on Instagram and shows him me and says, is this your daughter? And he's like, yeah, that's my daughter. She's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she's doing just fine, because that's exactly where I'm headed. She had an appointment with me.
That is what are the odds?
Zero, literally zero are the odds. And so now, of course, now I have this, now I'm the thing he can brag about, because this person, now it's real. Years later, it's real enough for Frank. It's real enough.
So Frank. So people know you, and people run into you, and you don't know them, but they know you. What is maybe the weirdest introduction that you've had with someone?
They handed me their child.
Not the baby.
A baby. Not like a 2-year-old, not like an infant. Like a baby. They were like,
my firstborn.
she was so overcome with by seeing me that she didn't know what to do, but she wanted to like hug me, but she didn't know what to do with the baby. So she handed me the baby. She was like, oh my God, you're you. And then I'm here and then it's you. And she handed me this baby. I was like, oh my God, your baby's so beautiful. Why am I holding a baby?
Why am I holding a baby?
Yeah, that was a good one. I had somebody walk into the door. That was interesting.
Into the door?
Into the door. Yeah, it was like a glass, like a sliding, like a glass door that was like super clear, and she didn't realize there was like a door there, and she kind of came at me full speed, and she just like a cartoon bonged off the door.
It's embarrassing. I feel bad for her. That's so embarrassing.
Oh, I went around the door. I picked her up. We had a good laugh, and then we went right over to the bar and had a cocktail. I was like, no, you need a drink after that. Sit down. She's like, oh my God, you're so nice. I'm like, yeah. And people always think I'm a lot taller than I am in person.
Same.
Mm-hmm. They're like, oh my God, you're so tall. You're so short. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
People tell them that's the first thing people say to me. Oh my God. I thought you were tall. I think it's because we have big dick energy.
Mm-hmm. I also get you're prettier in person. I'll take that. I'll take that. You're so much prettier in real life.
Can confirm. She also smells really good.
Thanks. It's like that's interesting. It's an interesting
thing to say. What was maybe the most awkward or the rudest introduction you've had?
Oh, this is a good one. So a lot of people don't know that I have a relationship, and they certainly don't know it's with Steve. And he was having a one-on-one with somebody who paid to do like a pick your brain kind of a day, sit down, go over things, not an actual training, not an actual class. And I had come into the studio, and he came over to give me a hug and a kiss, and she was like, oh, you're with her?
Oh.
And he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh. So that was weird.
Did she think she paid for a date with Steve?
Yeah, she really thought she was going to get a date with Steve out of it. And I was just kind of standing in the way. So that was an interesting one. That was kind of rude. Yeah. And then there was another time where he was speaking with one of the gentlemen in his class who wanted to get his wife lip education. And she was adamant about going to this particular artist. And he's like, listen, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to tell you, like, one of the best in the world just happens to like be here in the studio. She's like, no, absolutely not. I know exactly who I'm going to. Hubs, thank you so much for wanting to do that. But if you want to pay for it, I want you to pay for it with this girl that I want to go to. And I know exactly who I'm going to. I've been researching for months and months and months. And
was she
finally he was just like, okay, well, I'm just curious as to who this person is. Now, meanwhile, I'm off in like the back corner, minding my own business, kind of looking like I normally do on an average every day. And she's like, it's Carla Ricciardone. He's like, you mean that Carla right there, the one I've been talking about for the last 15 minutes?
I mean, she was certain she wanted you. She would not be persuaded to go to anyone but you.
However,
she didn't know it was you because you weren't tall.
No, I wasn't tall, and I'm prettier in person.
You were too pretty and not tall enough to be Carla Ricciardone.
Yeah. So yeah, she just like almost. So I started changing my social media after that, because Sculpted, the idea behind Sculpted was that it wasn't attached to my name, right? And it kind of backfired a little bit. So people didn't realize that me and Sculpted were the same place,
right?
So I had to start reintroducing like my name into things, so that way people would start to draw two and two together. Because
make a post on Facebook, people go, what credibility?
What credibility do you have? Who are you? Because Victoria says hi. So she's like, well, I'd be to answer somebody on Facebook, and they'd be like, well, who the hell are you? And what do you care? And then like everybody underneath is like, well,
you post your Instagram.
Guy, this is Carla, and it's Sculpted, and they're like, oh. Okay, never mind. Sorry about that.
Right. So when you and I met, I didn't know you. I had never heard of you. And that was probably during that same time where like you weren't being the face prominent. Because I did actually already follow Sculpted New York, I think. And I didn't know who you were. And somebody introduced us. They were like, oh, you're going to be meeting Carla, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested to meet her.
Sure. Yeah.
Some lady. And the very first thing that happened was someone else, a third party, came to me out of probably intimidation, if not just outright jealousy, and said, all of those things that precede you in reputation. Well, she's ruthless. You need to watch your back. You need to be careful what you say in front of her. And then they try to paint you out almost to be like a bad person without saying, did you know she's a bad person? They said, did you know that she's married, but she met Steve at a convention or something, and she's been just running around with him like she doesn't have a husband at home with her kid? And I thought to myself, I'm a good wife. And I love that part of my identity. I love being a good mom and a good wife. And like, who would treat their husband like that, So I didn't dislike you, but I also have this unique thing about me where people used to talk shit about me too, just for being who I am. Oh, she's a stripper bitch. She's this, she's that. So I thought, I've got to get to the bottom of this. So actually, in maybe our first or second conversation, I said, Carla, do you have a husband and a boyfriend? And you said, yes.
I did.
But when you explained it, it made sense. So do you want to clear the air on that? Like, there's no beef. As a matter of fact, when you and I had this conversation, Steve and John, I think, were golfing together somewhere.
I think they were at Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were at Formula One. And I actually was a little concerned with them because I had never, not that I had never left them alone, but like, I had never I don't know, never just been there, and like they organized their own process, right? Like it had nothing to do with me. I wasn't even involved in the loop. And I was texting the both of them, like, everybody alive? Like, what's going on? And I got a message back finally, almost simultaneously, leave us alone, we're bonding. I was like, okay.
And you know what? The only difference is some paperwork, right? Because people get divorced and get a new husband, and sometimes they hang out all the time. Or that happens more often than you think.
Or they're cheating and they're miserable, or they're the list goes on and on and on. And I adore and love and respect my daughter's dad. He's a lovely man. He is a great father. He is a good friend. He is not my person like that. And that's okay. And it's okay to say, and I'm not his, and he'll be the first person to tell you that. And here we were sitting in this like limbo jello area where we were like roommates circumnavigating each other and not doing a really good job co-parenting either, because we were just trying to ignore the giant elephant in the room at all times.
Yeah.
And we wanted to raise her very successfully. And we both had that at our core. And I have a career that, as much as he appreciates and supports, his natural nature is really quite the opposite, right? Like, I should be home with the kids and the laundry and the this and the that. Even though he's like, no, go reach for the stars, do what you want. But as I'm reaching, he's trying to knock the ladder out from just in case, just in case. So it always felt like a little forked tongued to me. And I just said it one day in the kitchen. I was like, listen, we've been avoiding each other for 4 years. And the last time,
by the way, that's a long time to be unhappy.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like we were unhappy. We were just like dead from the romantic side. The baby was conceived and that was it. You know what I mean? She's 4. So I was like, I can't live like that. There's a piece of me that's not fulfilled. And it's not just intimacy. It's physical intimacy. There's intimacy that belongs in a relationship, right? The person that you can complain to and depend on for that kind of information, the one who wants to lift you up. And I mean, you and Andrew have that with each other so very well. And that part of my life was completely missing. And as much as I could say to him, hey, pick up the groceries, or hey, we're missing toilet paper, how was your day? That was it. And then he went to his corner and I went to mine. So I came down the kitchen one day and I said, I'm going to see other people. And he said, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're both just really unhappy here. And that was the beginning of it. And I think he thought I was just going to kind of like find some one night stands and get whatever it was out of my system. And then we would find like some kind of place. And then we both realized that our place in that respect is not with each other. From him doing the same thing and me doing the same thing, like we realized that we were so much better and so much stronger living that independent piece of our lives, that we could come together for Marlo in a much different, in a stronger way. And I think in a world where we are now accepting people who relate in their identities as everything from, you know, I mean, there's a girl on TikTok who takes her kid to the vet because he identifies as a dog. So like, if that's an acceptable thing, I don't see why anything else short of that needs to be even up for, I think you make it work, right? It's not enough for discussion kind of a thing. It's not bad. It's not right. It's not wrong.
It's literally paperwork and a good co-parenting relationship.
Exactly.
So for someone to have tried to like weaponize that, it could only have come from a place of intimidation or outright jealousy. And it simply did not color the way that I viewed you. I mean, it made me curious about you. Like, what? She has
absolutely. And I have I've literally had people go, how? I'll never forget it. I sent my mom a picture of John holding Steve up on a ladder while changing, like we were building the beam. If you ever remember my Miami studio, I have a beam that goes across the studio that holds the sign, and they were hanging this huge beam and they're holding each other up. And I sent her a picture. It was like right around election time. I said, I should be running for president.
Yeah. Because boy, can we unite the aisles here.
I think life is what you make of it. You know,
exactly.
And if you want, as somebody said, I live unapologetically, right?
Yeah, and exactly.
Why am I going to apologize for my life if I'm on this earth for 200,000 days, give or take, God willing and blessing? What am I going to waste that on other people's opinions for?
There's no need.
There's no need. And if it works for me and everyone's happy and healthy, don't get me wrong. Or there are times where it was difficult and challenging and can still continue to be that maybe down the road. Sure, absolutely. But that's with anything. It's even with just a traditional unit of marriage. It still takes work and application of that. So yeah, and I agree.
Not to mention you guys are parents of an exceptional child. So there's bigger picture things to talk about. There's bigger picture things to worry about than whether or not you're home tonight, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I get that all the time. What about your daughter? Well, if I had a dick, would you ask me that question?
No. No, they would not.
No, they would not. And she's home with the dick and the nanny. You know, I knew, and this may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I knew from like day one of even as a small child, that I was not going to be that kind of mom. Like the Lincoln Logs on the floor and the Legos and the PTA meetings, like that gives me hives just thinking about it. And I know plenty of moms that is their whole thing and they love it. I'm not judging you. Don't judge me.
Yeah. I am that mom. I'm the PTA mom. I'm the homeroom mom. Exactly. I drive carpool. I have 6 kids over on the weekend for sleepover, 6 boys under the age of 6. But I actually love living vicariously through you, who has a studio in Miami, in New York, in Phoenix, and another one coming, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Another one coming.
You've got lots going on, and I love that. And I still am able to go. I mean, I've been in 6 countries in 30 days. I'm still able to do those other things, just not as often. You know, I can't regularly travel. I have to make plans 10 months in advance to do some travel.
And when I want to be surrounded by munchkins, I can make that happen too. I can come to your house. Or I take my sister and her 2 kids and my little one, and we do things, and I drag my mother around. She's like another child, you know, you know, I can make all that happen too. So, you know, you
get the best of both worlds, Hannah Montana.
I just love the busy, and I don't know if I could be me without the busy. I don't know how to operate without the bullet out of the gun.
So these people told me so many things that there's no way you could operate the way that you do without the busy, because I heard, well, I was in New York and we don't really know each other, but we went to dinner or we grabbed drinks, or she saw me at the airport and she stopped for drinks, or she always stops what she's doing and voice notes me, or she always messages me back. She's always so good. You have given me the same Dropbox links twice and they time out every time before I can save them. I've still never taken the color theory class. I tried to download it today and it was timed out again. And you never get tired of saying like, yeah, let me help you. Sure, I can help with that. The nicest, most giving person. But you couldn't do that if you were like, no. I have to make dinner tonight. You're momming everyone else.
Yeah. I just love being there. It just makes me feel good. It's like when you go to bed at night, my grandfather always used to say, the only things that you're going to regret in life are the shouldas, couldas, and wouldas. Yeah. And he always also said, zebras don't change their stripes and don't lie down with dogs or you're going to get up with fleas. He was a very wise man. Please.
My grandpa used to say, if you sit on a fence long enough, eventually you'll take it up the ass.
I love it. Grandpa wisdom goes everywhere, right?
Maybe he wasn't wrong.
No, he is not wrong. His advice has served me. God rest his soul, his advice has served me my whole life. That's it. If you want shelter, give shelter to someone else. If you want kindness, give kindness. If you want people to stop what they're doing to help you when you need help, you better do the same in return. And I think that comes from teaching 20 years of yoga and living that kind of real like spiritual life to some degree, but I've always had that in me. My mom used to call me the little house on the prairie, like everybody gets their share. Everybody gets the love. Everybody gets and it does so well for me. And, people often peg me as things like ruthless or savage and things like that. Like the only thing that I do is not do anything. I am not in the business of interrupting the people who don't like me or who are coming for me while they're busy destroying themselves.
Facts. And I've actually watched that play out in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I like
several times. Now, I didn't do anything.
No,
I didn't, nothing. Now, granted, it comes down on me anyway, because I was the target of that jealousy or the target of that rage. But I didn't do anything. I just sat there and let it all play out.
Dude, Arnold Rothstein said, if you don't have a move, don't make one. And I just let other people play into their own hand. I think that's so smart.
There's playing checkers, there's playing chess, and then there's playing Go. I've been playing Go since I was 3 or 4 years old. And it's a strategy military game. You've ever see it's got the white and the black little circles. It's a very difficult form of chess, essentially. And it's all about waiting very patiently for someone to make their own moves. And their own moves are usually what trap them.
It's like the art of war.
Yeah, exactly. And when they feel trapped, they generally rage like animals, right? Yeah. Caged. And that makes them sloppy. And then they start to make their mistakes. Yeah. And if you just are patient and continue to just be yourself, which is what is applying pressure, right? They just don't like you being you. They crack every time. So if you're listening to this podcast, there's a piece of advice. Do not interrupt your enemies while they're trying to destroy themselves. They'll do it. Just be patient. And I have been very patient, and I can be very patient. I will wait you out for years and decades. I'm not going to come at you. I'm not going to come for you. I'll just sit here and wait. You'll be fine.
Crocodile. She's just waiting. She's just watching. Let's back up a little bit. So when you had Marlo, you weren't in this career yet, right? Marlo actually gave you this career.
Marlo gave me the career. I had dabbled. So I had started to get interested in it. It had really just started to show up around 20, like right around the bridge between 2014, 2015, right? Microblading hit the US shores. And before that, it was, just old school body tattooing, right? Like you went to a tattoo artist and they could tattoo an eyebrow on or a lip or an eyeliner. But it was not like the modern cosmetic tattooing that we see today. And I have no eyebrows. These are all fake. I literally have like 3 hairs up there. And I wanted it done for myself. I had gotten an eyebrow tattoo in Italy when I was 18. And it was done with squalene, which is whale oil, which you no longer can have or use. And I apologize for my vegan friends out there. I didn't even realize that that's what that was. Back then, I needed eyebrows, guys. Needed eyebrows. And I was like, okay, there has to be something. And I had found microblading in New York City at the time. And when I tell you it was horrendous, it is not the microblading we know today. I mean, there was blood pouring down my face. Like we were mopping this stuff up.
Yeah.
It was so bad that my mom and I went downstairs to the hot dog cart after it was over and had like 3 sodas each just to like bring our sugar levels back up. Yeah. I thought we were both going to pass out.
I was crying. I was gripping the massage table, begging, like, please tell me you're done.
Yeah.
And I was bleeding.
Yeah. It was horrific. So I was like, okay, there has to be a better way. And I had started to do some research, and I was pregnant with my second pregnancy at the time. So I had 4 miscarriages, guys. And I lost my second one at 12 weeks. My first at 6, my second at 12, my third at 18, my fourth at 20, and Marla was born at 23 weeks, just to give you guys some perspective. It was rough. So at 18 weeks, going through that, for the second time, I was in mental. I was mental. There was no other living with me. I was mental. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So I started cutting up latex because that's what we do, right? We take out it on something else. And I think there was an online course. Forget who had it. It wasn't Fee-Brows didn't even exist then. It was like, I don't know. It had 3 initials. I'll remember it and I'll tell you what it is later, but it had 3 initials and they don't exist anymore. And they sent you like latex and some microblades with like the sticks that you had to attach them to, like it literally like an X-Acto knife setup. And I was slicing through this latex in rage. Right. And that was where I started. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to give this a real shot. And then I got pregnant again. And then I had another miscarriage. And then this one was a lot worse. I had to be hospitalized. Then we tried again, and that one was even worse. And I was hospitalized again. And when Marlo was born, finally, after the worst pregnancy ever. I mean, number one, I'm terrified, guys, because of everything that's happened. Right. I was also extremely ill. I had that thing where you just throw up nonstop, and I couldn't get any nutrition down. They were talking feeding tubes, and I was getting IVs for fluids. It was a mess. And she was born at 23 weeks. And the first question I asked the doctor was, is it actually a viable baby? And he's like, we won't know until the baby's born. And she cried when they pulled her out of me. From what they tell me, I don't know, because I was being paddled. I had a heart attack on the table, lost a lot of blood. And I woke up in the ICU to blood transfusions and everybody standing over me and tubes and the whole 9 yards. And she was in a little plastic bag in the NICU. They told me I couldn't see her until I could stand. So I got up, not realizing that I was like literally naked. Yeah. And I walked through the hospital like a crazy person. Naked. I had the fuzzy socks on that they give at the hospital.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't end up in grippy socks.
Well, yeah, they had the grippies right on the bottom, like those. You don't know which ones I'm talking about.
That's like one size for the mental institution.
Oh yeah, honey, no, it was a mental institution. I was pulling the IV pole behind me. I had the diapers on, the ones that come up to your armpits, and
I've seen Carla naked. Well, it's great. And so they got a show.
Yeah. And I had like, pads and, all this stuff. And I waddled down in the NICU, and they were like, Mrs. Doherty, that's my married name. And I'm like, yeah. They're like, are you here to see Marlo? And I'm like, oh, good. He did give her the right name. That was like, on my list of things. And I was like, yeah. They're like, well, that's great, sweetheart. And we're happy to let you in. But do you know you're naked?
No.
No, I said, yeah, no. So they went and got me another gown and taped it on the other way.
Thank you.
And I got to see the baby. But we spent 196 days in the NICU together.
Crazy.
I lived in the hospital room or the parking lot in my car, and they have a Ronald McDonald House on premise. So for those of you guys don't possibly know this, it's like a charity home for people who have really sick children.
Yeah.
And you can stay as like a hotel for parents, but there's rules to it. So you can stay a certain amount of days and then they have to give the room to somebody else. So you were switching back and forth. They were really good to me. And a lot of the other parents who had really long-term illnesses for children, but you still had to leave every couple of days. And I was not leaving my child. So I would sleep in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Or I would sleep in the hotel. And one of the nurses like, maybe you should take up something like knitting. And I'm like, I've got a better idea. And I brought all my tattoo stuff to the NICU and I sat there in front of her incubator and I tattooed all day long. I did so much latex. It was crazy. I mean, I was tattooing gloves.
She told you to find something repetitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like mindless, repetitive.
Mindless, repetitive, and numbing was her literal actual words. And I had already made the entire nursing staff blankets because of my stress level with the crochet. Scarf patterns just got really long. So I was out of things to do. And yeah, that's how it all got started. And it was supposed to be for family and friends. And I wasn't going to have a business. No, I didn't even want a business. I got so mad when somebody told me I should start my own yoga business, like a couple of years before that it actually ended a relationship.
Oh,
because he had suggested that I start my own business. And when I tell you, I got violently angry at him for even suggesting it, that I don't even know where that came from, but like I pounced on this guy and yeah, he broke up with me like literally right then and there. No, he was completely right. I pounced on this guy right then and there. I was like, how dare you? And blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what the heck. Yeah. So if you're watching this, sorry about that yelling. And,
sorry to that man.
Here we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it all got started. And it was a 200 square foot little room in the back of my house. Guys, I could do it out of the back of my house. It was okay with the health department. I live in a really small town. That's not always the case. So make sure you check your rules and regulations. But yeah, that's where this was all born.
What is Santosha?
Santosha. So Santosha in Sanskrit is the word for contentment. And in the American English language, to be content is to be okay in your situation, right? To be happy in your situation. But in Sanskrit, the definition is slightly different, and it means to be with your moment. So whatever that moment is, whatever that moment brings to you, you are going to be with it completely, no matter what it is. So if you are broken and you're okay, and you are dealing with that. If you are angry, you are all the way angry. You're not going to save some for later. You're going to get it out, rage out right then and there, and then it'll be done with. If you are happy, you are happy to express that. So it is to be okay with how you feel in that moment. Feelings are okay. And yeah. I grew up in a family where it was like, you didn't cry. You don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. Like you swallowed everything other than happy, right? I don't swallow anything. But I also don't save anything for later. So like if I get in an argument with you, like we're going to go full fisticuffs if I have to, but it's right then and there. And like 3 years down the road or 3 days down the road, I'm not going to throw it in your face. Well, you did that and you did this. And I live by that. And
we already cried about this.
Yeah. I think it's so powerful to be okay with your emotions. It's like my daughter sees me cry. She sees me upset. She sees mommy happy. She sees mommy sad. And she knows that all of these emotions are a stable part of being a human being instead of trying to swallow any of those emotions. And then, I don't know, need a therapist 6 days a week by the time you're 30 because you don't know how to deal with your own emotions because you weren't allowed to have any. And especially as females, right? Oh, you're just emotional. You're a woman. Yeah, I'm emotional. I'm a human. Humans have emotions. It has nothing to do with me being female or not. Like I'm emotional. It's who we are as people. So, having those emotions and being okay with those emotions is what Santosha means. It's the concept of it. And it buddies right up to say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
And
that's a big problem in this business, right? Because everybody's worried about the optics. So everybody wants to dance around how they express something, or they don't quite want to say the thing that they actually think. Nobody wants to give an opinion. So that would be the opposite of Santosha.
Yeah, the absolute opposite.
So you didn't learn this at home, because your home life was very like, suppress it, don't say it, don't feel it. Elsa.
You got something, you're crying, I'll give you something to cry about. That's
yeah. Oh man, I say that sometimes, so I need to chill the fuck out. Did you learn this in the ashram? Give me the timeline. You spent 6 months in an ashram with monks, right?
Well, yeah, technically Buddhist monks. Yeah. I mean, yogis, Buddhist monks.
When did that happen? How did that happen?
2000. How old was I? I was 24. So 2004.
For 6 months.
6 months.
How'd you end up there?
I had a nervous breakdown.
And it was your idea, or someone was like, this is where you need to go?
So in 2000, no, it wasn't 2000. I'll correct myself. It was 2008. So I moved to Philadelphia after I lived in Europe in 2023. And I had a really high profile corporate job in 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2007, 2008. I got stolen away from one company and hired by another company. I got headhunted. So I worked for a design firm, worked for an engineering firm, and I was the director of business development and marketing. And I got headhunted by a design firm that did all of the high-end restaurants for like hotels and casinos, all of the amenities for hotels and casinos, and the hotels themselves, like real boutique bougie shit. And I loved it. And then I got headhunted again by an advertising agency that I don't think exists anymore, because ad agencies kind of really don't, but like the kind that everybody wanted to work for, that you all saw in the movies in the 80s, like, oh my God, the ad firm, right? Like they repped all the big car brands and all the cigarette brands and the liquor brands. And it was super sexy. And I was so excited to start this job. And then the crash in 08 happened. And everybody lost everything. Yeah. I mean, you guys all think COVID was crazy. Guys, this was way worse. I mean, I lost my house, I lost my car, and I had to go home with my tail between my legs. And I moved back in with my mother. I was in an abusive relationship. Yes, me.
It's keep coming.
Yeah, literally. And
you guys, you can't hurt Carla because life has beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, basically. So I went home and I crawled up on my mother's couch, determined that I was going to crawl into it and into myself and rot. And I was okay with that. I started doing things that most people should not do to cope with, or most people do to cope with depression and anxiety. And that was very unhealthy of me. And my mother started to recognize a lot of that. God bless her. My mother's a force to be reckoned with. She is massive. Virginia. So Virginia is opinionated as hell, critical as hell. And you just don't mess with Virginia. Like, you just don't do it. And my mom gets, yes.
I'm automatically terrified of her.
She gets 3 cards a year. We call them the mom cards. And they are whatever she wants. Favor, take me to a dinner, take me to a show, take me on vacation, do this. No questions asked. She throws me the card. I can't say no. That's the rule.
I like that.
And I get 3. I have 3 daughter cards, but we have 3 a year and we hand them to each other on Christmas. It's literally like, I've been making this
physical
coupon
card.
book. I've been making a coupon book since I was about 7 years old. It's the cutest thing. And I make her one every year. So she comes into the living room, which is also her couch area and TV. She lives in a townhouse, and she comes and she hands me this card. And I'm like, fuck. She said, get off the couch and come to yoga with me. I said, no. She said,
it's my card.
I said, fuck. So I went upstairs and I got my shit and I huffed and puffed all the way to the yoga class. And now, meanwhile, I'm in this class with Yona was the instructor. I'll never forget her. She was an ex-Russian ballerina from like the Russian ballet ballerina. So you guys all think I'm savage.
No.
This woman was savage.
Dude, don't fuck with the Russians.
No. So I'm in this class with, about 40 people. This is before like yoga was like about fitness and the cute little outfits, right? She was like a drill sergeant.
Oh.
And they're all standing and gracefully doing things. I'm falling over. I'm knocking the people down next to me.
That's hard to imagine.
I can't hold this plank thing, which is basically a push-up in the up position. And I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm ready to throw up. I've been in this class for 15 minutes. I'm ready to die. And I can't do any of this, right? I am mad as hell. Meanwhile, my mother is like standing there in tree pose, all elegant, and I'm falling over. So I get home, even more mad, but at least I'm mad about something tangible and real this time.
Right.
Right. In the real life world. And I Googled it. GTS, Googled that shit. And yoga, how to do yoga. And they started popping up things like, lessons and stuff like this. Even the internet was a lot different then. Yeah. And then something came up and said yoga teacher training. And I was like, well, if I'm really going to learn something, if I learned how to do, like, to teach it, they would probably teach me also how to do it. So this is like a 2-for-1 deal, right? I was like, I'm going to do that.
You didn't think that you should run a business?
No.
With a brain like that?
No.
It's a 2-for-1 deal. This is better. I can actually make money learning the thing that
wasn't even thinking that far. I just wanted to and it was like an immersion, right? And it said it was like 30 days, it said. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to be gone for 30 days learning this. And it happened to be like that following weekend. And I was like, sign me up. So I signed myself up and I took whatever money I had left in my savings to pay for it. And off I went to this 30
How much was a class for 30 days?
It was 10 grand. It was 10 grand. And I went and I lived there and, it was all vegan and everybody was like super ethereal. And I was like living with a bunch of like actual fairies, like with the wings on their backs. Like everybody had like this idea about life. It was all like glitter and sparkle. And I'm going, and they're going around the room. How long have you been doing it? People have been doing it their whole lives. They were brought up into it. And I'm like, I took one class yesterday. I did not fit here at all, like literally at all. And I'll never forget the look on my guru, my teacher's face at the time. She just kind of looked at me like, oh, okay.
Oh, one day she's never going to use this.
She's never going to use it.
She'll never do this again.
So at the end of the 30 days, I was like, well, now what? And they offered me to come and stay with them at the ashram. And I was like, yeah, I'm sold. And
what else do I have to do?
Yeah, what else do I have to do? And I went and I took my nervous breakdown with me. And it just started to slowly unwind, and all the baggage and the bullshit I had been carrying around and all of this, like who I was supposed to be, faded away. And I realized that I could just be me. It was the best therapy ever. Seriously. Like I couldn't pay this to a therapist. Like it just broke all of that, like imposter syndromes and all of these things that you hear flying around. Like, it's not like everybody in my generation got a trophy or a certificate of participation. We were told things like no, and you're wrong back then. But we were also told who we were supposed to be. You either were supposed to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, this or that. And I didn't fit any of those, and none of them felt like they fit me. And the minute I realized that the only thing I had to fit was me, it was like the whole thing just cracked wide open. And I'll never forget it. I sweat for like days. It just poured out of me, like all of this like crap that I had been lugging around for years trying to be somebody. And I was already somebody the whole damn time. And all I had to do was be that.
The Carla Ricciardone.
Exactly. Just like you are the Victoria Rocca, just like you are the whoever you are, like you are already the, like,
by the way,
you don't have to be anybody.
I think that is intrinsically attached to not having a lot of friends, not feeling accepted as a child, because you were able to use that as almost like a superpower. It's okay for you to say, yeah, I'll move to Europe. Yeah, I'll go and take a 30-day class. Sure, I'll go to the ashram for 6 months, because you don't have these ties at home waiting for you. I feel like people who have the same 6 best friends since age 2, often almost it's a weight around their ankle of, well, I can't leave this small town because that's where my mom is. Well, I don't know anyone over there. I'm so dependent on my friends here, or I don't know how I'll make friends there. They don't take chances. They don't move around. They don't learn things or see other facets of the world. And so while it might have felt really shitty as a 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old feeling like I don't fit in, how amazing is it to find out that it was because you were the ugly duckling?
Yeah. And I think people like rage
you guys
against
are ducks,
me
I'm
a little
swan.
bit. Yeah. I think they rage against me a little bit because I have that freedom too. And like I always say, I could live on a deserted island. Like, I don't understand why Tom Hanks built the raft and left Wilson. I don't get it. I don't get it. I would have stayed.
You'll find Rita.
I would have just totally stayed.
Well said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I had lost Wilson, maybe that would have been, but he only lost Wilson because he got on the raft.
Yeah.
Like
they would have been fine on the island.
I would have been fine on the island. You got all you can eat crab. You've got
baby,
fire.
I'll eat the crab.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going for? Like, I would be totally fine alone. And most people can't be alone with themselves. So they have a lot of trouble being alone. And being in that ashram for 6 months, I spent a lot of time alone and by myself.
Yeah.
And it is just, you can open it. It's okay. It's really, really difficult. Exactly. Know thyself. Tatwamasi. This I am this, that I am. And like, sit down and look in a mirror. Like, just look at yourself for 10 minutes. And just listen to what pops up. You know, a lot of people think that like meditation's about emptying your mind. It's not. It's about watching your mind. It's about observing your mind and taking the role as the observer instead of the participator in your own thoughts. And it's really amazing when you actually observe what flies through your head and don't get attached to it, because everything's coming for you. The negative, the positive, the confusion, the worry, other people's opinions, like of you, all of that is what's the noise in your head. Like, observe the whirlings and the fluctuations of the mind. And when you learn how to observe it, boy, it's a whole new planet for you. That much I can absolutely promise, because it's certainly not about being there like numb and silent and quiet, right? It's about the peace that observing your thoughts can actually provide you with, and this understanding, you know, of looking from the outside in.
So having such a, I don't know, elevated understanding of how your brain works, and kind of understanding when you look at someone else like, oh, she's unhealed, or she has this issue and that's why she treats me this way, or just kind of how we were saying, you know, I think that people envy a little bit that you are able to move around, or that you have this greater understanding, almost your own ethereal vibe now, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you channel that back down to earth and say, okay, I'm going to focus really hard, almost back on the rat race, right? So like, I'm going to take this PMU thing that has been, I don't want it to be a business. Matter of fact, I'll yell at you if you tell me that it should be. It's an art form. It's part of my, almost a meditation. How did you then change course and say, okay, right, so I am back in it. I am going to make it a business. I'm going to make it really profitable, and I'm going to be a contender in this. Because that's almost the, like, you're up here and we're going to come back
opposite, down. Right? I should be walking around in Birkenstocks and floating through fields of grass, right? Which I have, just not on my feet right now. I'm actually in just socks. Okay, so how did that
you're in just socks?
I did. I took my shoes off.
I love it.
So actually, I was at a conference. The one I met Steve at, one of our mutual friends was having this conference, and she called me up and said, would you like to speak at this conference? And I couldn't believe that somebody was calling me to speak at anything. And I was like, how did you even hear about me? I mean, Instagram was still like an infant back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I want to go. And I wanted to go because I wanted to meet people again. I wanted to honestly, I wanted to see if I could to stay me with the noise again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, okay, I've healed over here and I'm doing these great things and I'm euphoric in my thoughts and everything's rainbows and puppies, but let me see if that stands up in the real world.
Yeah, exactly. And trust me, it wasn't rainbows and puppies in my thoughts all the time, but it would be like, to use a metaphor or analogy, it's like, I'm a raging alcoholic who's sober for 2 years. Can I go sit in a liquor store?
Oh, you just reminded me of something. And when we're done videoing, I want to bitch to you about it, but go on.
Okay. So I wanted to go see if I could go sit in a liquor store. So I went and sat in the liquor store. Right. And I'll never forget it. It was actually Steve, and we didn't know each other like we do now. And he came up to me and he said, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Everybody is going to know who you are.
Oh.
And I was like, this is exactly what I said. You're talking about somebody else, right? Like me? And he's like, yeah, you. And I was like, no. He's like, did you see what you just did? Like,
what did you talk about?
I was doing needleless injections back then before the FDA banned them and all that. And but it was how I fielded the questions and how I handled the audience and how I interacted and pulled everybody in, and like they were glued. And it was great. And we had a really lovely interactive presentation. And he just was like, and then I had to do a demo, and I did a demo, and I was tattooing, and he's like, and you tattoo like that? He's like, you tattoo, first of all, like a maniac. He said, your work's incredible, but your hands must hurt. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what are you using? And I was like, I don't know, some F-cup irons bullshit. I didn't even know what it was called, right? FK irons, for those of you who know, like this was pre-pen machines. I was using a Halo, like from a really reputable, huge brand. Didn't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
Like this is how like it went. And yeah, it felt good to be back in the real world.
Or was he just
no he was working, he was attending as a representative for Microblading at the time. He was working for Microblading and FK Irons, and he was representing them from like the machine side.
The machine, he repped some bullshit. He was like, it's one of the best on the market, actually.
Yeah, he's like, sweetie, that's not even not how you pronounce it. Like I even had the name wrong, right? Like irons. I mean, yeah, I don't know, F-cup irons, I don't know, like what this is what I use. I don't know. This is what I was given. You know, it was one of those. That's why, like, I was doing in these Facebook groups where like people don't know what they have, right? Or they don't know what they're using. Guys, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And everything in the beginning sounds really amazing. So, you know, for those of you who comment on Facebook pages like that and comments like that, where you like jump down that person's throat for not knowing that, remember that you were a beginner at one point too.
Right. And also that there's more than one way to do things. I ordered needles the other day from someone that I know in real life, and whoever fulfills their orders, like it didn't give me the drop down box to select a needle size. So, but there was a note section. So I said I wanted a number 12 one round extra long taper.
Right.
They emailed me and they were like, hi, we don't have 12s. We have 0.30s and we have 0.35s. I said, a number 12 is a 0.35 thing. That's the one I want. They're like, okay, great. Thanks. I'll ship those out to you. I was like, perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah. Gauge and diameter, guys.
But I don't know. I don't know who works in her warehouse. I don't know if they actually tattoo or not.
Right. Exactly.
And I didn't always know that. I mean, until Taryn told me, I didn't know that needles were numbered and gauged. I didn't know.
Yeah. But so gauge is the number, and with the decimal point, it's diameter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, same language, different country.
My dad calls me Tori. My mom named me Victoria. I fucking hate it, but same person.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't call me Tori. I fucking hate it.
So yeah, that's where it all started. And
so how did that turn into a date?
Oh, it took me 3 days to convince him to go out on a date with me.
Oh, you asked him?
Oh yeah. Sweetie, I was throwing it so hard that I was attracting dogs from 95 counties.
I was attracting the dogs. I was throwing it so hard.
Like, I mean, seriously, if you like dog in heat, like they were howling in all of Texas. And this one went right over his head, completely missed it. I mean, people were literally taking off their clothing to show me themselves, like top up. Let's not keep it PG. Top up, like, look at my abs. And I'm like, no, wrong guy. That one. Like, it took me forever to get him to go out on a date with me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it was just on from there.
Yeah, it was online Donkey
really
Kong.
Encouraged you to run it like a business.
No, he encouraged me to come out of my shell. And he basically said, like, if you don't show who you are, people are going to fill in the blanks for you.
Yeah.
And
don't they?
Would you prefer it to be your voice or someone else's, because your work is going to start to speak very loudly.
Yeah.
And you aren't going to be saying anything. And you have a lot to say. It comes from really well thought out places. You back your shit up with data. You back your shit up with science. Like, say it loud and say it proud, because if you're not going to say it, someone else is either going to take it or say it for you and maybe not say it the way you had intended. And it became this like ethical conversation inside my head. And I eventually said, okay, so if I'm going to reach for it and I fall flat on my ass, like, what's the worst case scenario? You lose everything. Okay, well, you've been there before. And you're okay with that, right? You survived it.
Ashram.
Yeah, go back to the ashram, have another nervous breakdown. You'll be fine. Like, so that was it. I don't know. I just grew a set and said, that's it. I'm just going to go for it. And the higher I reached, the more I realized that I could build that platform underneath me. And that platform also included people like you and people like Steve and my other friends in the world that, when Carla misses a step or Carla needs some help, there's somebody there to do that, because Carla's also willing to do it in return.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really how it did. And, listen, I have some business education and I have all this other stuff. So, I could start to use all of these aspects that really make me feel fulfilled. Now, I love to tattoo and I love my clients, but what really electrifies me, like what gets me excited, is running things.
Yeah.
And like putting the processes together and having that project and doing all the execution of the tasks. I'm very pragmatic. And I love that. That's what like really bongs my gong. So I took my talent and I turned it into something that I could turn into a project, and that project became Sculpted, and the studios and the educational platforms and the pigment sets, which you can see sticking out behind me. Like, all of these projects started to unfold underneath it, and I got to run this company again and use my managerial skills and my CEO type brain. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So it grew from humble places, and it just took believing in myself and wanting my voice to not be someone else speaking for me.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be me, and I wanted it to come from my authenticity. Now, what people decide to turn that into or twist it around and blah, 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 yada, yada, that's up to them. But you can always find the authentic answer with me too. If you're willing to at least just ask me before you listen to gossip and all the other mongerings out in the world. But I'll tell you straight up, all you got to do is ask.
I love that about you. So you came from corporate and you have a little bit of business education, a lot of bit of business experience. When you decided whether or not this was a viable business and this was a success, or that success was within grasp, did you do that the business way, like by the numbers, or was there another marker that you were like, oh, we're on to something?
I think it kind of happens both ways, right? So like, I knew I was on to something just because we had an authentic product, right? If you have something authentic, there's nothing you can't do with it, right? You just have to then apply the numbers and the science, right? And everything has to have a foundation and a structure. And a successful business can only get so big and scale so much just like conceptually in your brain. You know, if you're a one-person shop and you want a lot of clients and you want an education platform and things like that, can you just kind of like let it go and do its thing? More than likely, probably, and see some success and like see some back trend and struggle a little bit. But if you really want to scale, you have to build your house on foundation that's not going to just fall down. Like you can't have an upside down triangle where like the scaling outweighs the structure it's standing on, right? You can't put a pyramid upside down. So that becomes the numbers and the boring stuff, I guess, of running a business. You know, what your profitability is, what your gross is, what your net is. You know, if you don't know where you're headed, like this is one of the things that happens a lot, like when you and I would coach business, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you know where you're going? And successful is not an actual answer. What does success look like to you?
Exactly.
Is success 100 grand cash in your pocket a year? Because 100 grand for your business to make is a whole nother number. So like, what's your goal?
They never know their numbers.
No, they never know their numbers. You need to know your actual numbers. And then from there, you also need to know your exit.
Right.
I think that a lot of people don't realize that. So
what's
like
the Carla exit plan?
The Carla exit plan. I want to sell my studio and my company. That's my out.
Yeah. I want you to buy Brow Sister later.
Yeah. That's what I want. I want somebody to come in and say, I want this.
Yeah.
I want the whole thing, and take on more of like a managerial role and oversight role. You know, where, you know, they still have me to like kind of captain the ship, but it's somebody else's day to day. And then eventually I can even back out of doing that. Right. I'm 43 years old and I want to be done before 50.
Yeah. Okay. So 7 years. We've got 7 years left to train with Carla, you guys.
I want to be done by 50. Doesn't mean that I won't have another piece of this someplace else. But yeah, I don't want to sit in the chair every day. I mean, I love my clients, but
Taryn Darling called it her second act. Like, it's almost time for my second act, you know?
Yeah. I love my Taryn. She's amazing.
I love her.
She's absolutely amazing. She popped into my DMs. I want to say like maybe almost close to a year ago, somewhere between 9 months and 12 months ago, you know, and it was the first time like I knew of her and we've seen each other in passing. She popped into my DMs to ask me a question. And I remember just like I've been following her since I was an infant in this industry, just in awe of who she is as a person. And right. And I was like, it would be like, you know, just the person that you admire, right, just shows up in your DMs to ask you something. And I was like, oh my God, stopped everything that I was doing and answered. And of course she said, and your reputation precedes you. She's like, I can't believe you're actually answering me, but everybody told me you would.
Yeah.
So we were having a lovely conversation about some of the things that she wanted to do and that I had already done. And I was like, oh my God, absolutely. Like this is this, and this is this, and this is how I do it. We just became, we talk every once in a while now. I mean, life keeps busy, but I remember that I just couldn't believe that I'm still flabbergasted. I'm sweating. Like I get starstruck too. And that was a big moment for me. It really was. It was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And yeah. So
you get starstruck. You were in the Rachel Zoe report. Okay. You have been covered internationally. You've been in BuzzFeed. I mean, Jesus Christ, you've been on a bajillion magazine covers. You get starstruck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How did Rachel Zoe report come to be? Because she doesn't really dabble in permanent beauty.
They just called me one day. The editor wanted to get something done. And I said, yeah, sure. Come on by. She's like, you know, I really want to do this. And this is what I'm hearing. And like, I think they sent me a list of questions to answer. Mm-hmm. And
I read that.
And I remember reading it going,
that's not what I said.
Where are you getting these questions? So I literally say, can somebody call me here? because it was all super wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like the prompted questions were super wrong. And it was like, they Googled permanent makeup and picked like the 10 worst things that you could possibly say that like really didn't have any meat or cheese to them that really belonged in the industry.
Semi-permanent. It's gone in 2 years.
Exactly. It's completely pain-free. It's not a tattoo. I'm like, yeah, no, none of this is right. You can't ask me these questions because I can't answer them.
Right.
And
it's a trick question.
Yeah, exactly. This is false. And you're falsifying information to your readers. And I remember calling them up and saying, like, this is trash. You can't ask me this. And the editor was like,
imagine listeners calling the Rachel Zoe report and telling their lead editor, yes, I would love to be featured in your magazine. Also, you're trash.
Yeah. Also, these questions are absolute trash. But how about I show you why, and we formulate better questions so that way, even if you don't ask me to answer these questions anymore because you've had it with me, at least the next person that you ask will be giving your readers real actual information instead of more drivel on the internet. So yeah, that's how that happened. And then she was like, oh my God, can I come and get it done? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, I don't know how to trust anybody else. She's like, you're absolutely right. This is all I see on the internet. And it's literally just copy, paste, copy, paste. You know, it's like, if you Google the difference between inorganic and organic ink, you're going to get this paragraph that talks about like vegetables and fruit and like rocks and shit. Like I've literally seen prominent figures in this industry take that paragraph and cut and paste it into their blogs, cut and paste it into their training materials. Like just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's real. So
I answered someone in a Facebook forum the other day about carbons versus organics. And I was mostly right, but you commented under it and gave like a very long expanded addendum to that. And I was like, you know what? She sent me actually all of this information. I need to read it. So I went to download it and it has timed out. It has timed out. It's been
I'm going to send you this Dropbox link again. And what you're going to do is
I'm going to download it immediately. I won't delay.
And then you can read it next year, but just download it. I'm just going to email it to you. I want to give you the real file with like all this stuff. So it's too big for an email, but if I have to give you the abridged version, just because you have it, I will. I'm just going to come and I'm going to mail you a jump drive.
I felt like I got spanked. I was like, oh, she, not only is she saying like, there's more to it than just what you've said, but she gave me this information. I mean, to be fair, you guys, anyone listening, I paid for the color theory class. I simply got the date wrong. And she was like, don't worry, I'll still send you the information. And then what an idiot.
Okay.
Well, Carla,
we all do it. We all do it. And that's what friends are really for, right?
God bless.
It is so easy to be someone's friend when it's all happy go lucky bullshit. Like, it's so good to see you. Like, how many times have you seen that?
How have you been?
It is a lot different to show up when it is something somebody needs that might be slightly inconvenient for you, or they're having a bad day.
Open the PR box, but it's a lot harder to send one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny. I had a company just recently reach out to me. And they wanted to send me a big PR box about all their needles and the supply. They're a beautiful new supply company, right? And they wanted to send me all of their stuff. And I was like, and my literal response was, that's really nice of you, but I don't need more stuff. Yeah. How about you take that whole PR box that you were going to send me, and you do a giveaway. And you call it sponsored by Sculpted. And we actually give it to somebody who is new, who might need it, who may not have the value of that box to purchase. And
to call it sponsored by Sculpted is to put your stamp on it. So that's really lending a name.
Mm-hmm. And it does a lot more than me just opening up a pretty box full of stuff and saying, thank you. I would much rather change someone's life.
So you guys, Carla is sponsoring a giveaway for Brow Sisters.
Yes, anytime you want. Anytime you want. And of course, they called me up immediately.
Yeah.
And said, okay, that's never happened before.
Yeah.
And who are you? And how do we work with you? On a much bigger
Who are
scale.
You wanted to send me a PR box. Who am I? Who are you?
They meant it more like mentally, like what planet do you live on, right? Like who doesn't accept a free box of stuff? I'm like, I got closets full of needles and like we're good. I don't need another one.
Word on the street is Victoria needs some 1201 round liner extra long tapers.
I think we have a responsibility when we achieve success to make sure that the path is there for others to achieve it.
I agree. There's this one graphic that I think back to all the time. And next time I see it in my camera roll, I'll send it to you. And it's of a lady on a cliff and she's extending her hand down to help the lady, like another lady. Mm-hmm. And in the previous, then they show you like what she had done. That lady who's down there, who she's helping up, had hoisted her up there. Right. So like you help me up here, then I turn around and pull you up with me.
You up. Exactly.
And that's just, if I were going to name them, I would put you as the lady reaching her hand down. I would call her Carla. And
rising tides raise all ships.
That was overwhelmingly the vibe of what people said. Mm-hmm. Put your mask on before you help others. Mm-hmm. Kind, giving, always answers her DMs, always makes time. How does she have so much time? Which honestly, I have also wondered how you are present in 3 different households, how you mom, how you educate, how you answer every student, every client, every Facebook forum, every time you're tagged, voice note, every single message. Like, when do you sleep?
I sleep like Winston Churchill.
What does that mean?
So, well, a lot of people think there's one pattern of sleep, right? You go to bed, you sleep for 6 to 8 hours a night, and then you get up, right? And then you do your whole day, and then that repeats, right? Mm-hmm. There's like 8 or 9 actual patterns to sleeping. Yeah.
What's your sleeping pattern?
I sleep for like 4, then I'm up for like 6, then I sleep for like 1, then I'm up for like 8, then I sleep for like 3, then I am up for like 12. Then I sleep for like 1. Yeah, I sleep.
I think I sleep like constantly. Winston Churchill. I do that.
I sleep very sporadically. And then I go on vacation once a year around my birthday. And we have one rule. Then I'm not allowed to use my phone, but I have 48 hours to turn it down, right? And start to turn it off. And then it goes in the safe. And I don't know the code to it. Yeah, it goes in and gets locked up. Yeah, it's great.
You can do that when you're already at the top.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then when I wind it down, that first like 2 days, I'm unconscious.
Oh,
like I sleep for like 24 hours. Yeah, I sleep for like 24 hours and recoup. But that's how I sleep.
Where does Carla Ricciardone vacation?
Quiet, off the beaten path kind of places, random islands like off the coast of Colombia. It was the last one. Mountain house in Sedona somewhere, like bad Wi-Fi signal.
Are you coming to Bali with us?
Absolutely.
Next August.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. But that's how I kind of take my time again.
I love that.
Yeah, because if there's Wi-Fi around and I'm in arm's reach, I'm pulled because I truly want to help. Oh yeah, 100%. And I got no problems with that.
No, because it's where you feel fulfilled. It's your joy. Yeah.
I think the word aholic gives it negative connotation, right? I am a work activist.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a work activist.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, I know that you have work to do today, and so do I. So I don't want to keep you here, but I have one more burning question for you. And I debated whether or not I should ask you because it's a little bit what I'm doing. Yeah. So I was speaking with someone else. And this was a private conversation. It wasn't on the podcast. So I'm not going to say who it was, but it doesn't matter. Totally fine. She was basically saying, that she's very careful what she lends her name to or where she physically shows up, because she is at a point in her career where a lot of times she feels a little used. And the phrase she used was, I don't want to be your content cow. So I don't want to show up to your live event so that you can throw a camera in my face and then use that for the next 6 months to make money off of my image. Right. And I understand that I am doing that a little bit with you right now. I asked you because I want to reach your audience. I asked you on, and I want to show you to my audience and have them get to know Carla Ricciardone. Now, of course, it's symbiotic because I'm going to put all your links to Sculpted, your classes, your pigments, all the rest. But
mutually parasitic, we call that.
Right. But do you ever feel that way when you're invited to speak places or when you're invited to do collabs? Do you ever feel like a content cow? How do you trust people?
Oh, well, there's the first
I wasn't vetted. You just embraced me. You were like, yes, you're my tiny best friend.
Yes. We're probably the same height. We're both tiny. Okay. So this is a twofold. This is a twofold. I have this like superpower, not to sound like an arrogant asshole, but I love this about myself. You put me within arm's reach of someone, I can feel their energy. I know exactly who they are.
Lifelong.
Like it has creeped people out my whole life. Like at one point, my mother actually took me to the priest. She was worried that like I could feel people's juju and it was, yeah, exactly. I mean, they were super religious until they got a divorce in the 80s when then the priest and the nuns told my parents it no longer existed in the eyes of God because divorce was a bad thing. Yeah. But I don't know. I just know. And I don't know how else to explain it, but like, if you give me the creeps, like there's a reason. And if you don't give me those creeps, like I can feel people's sadness. I can feel people's, it's empathy, right? I'm very empathetic.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. And you have to protect that energy and stuff like that. But when with you, like I knew instantly exactly who you were. Like you didn't have to even tell me, right? Like I knew you were amazing people. I knew you said what you meant and you meant what you said.
Every time.
I knew that you didn't bite your tongue. I knew that you were outgoing and social. I knew that you could be loud when you needed to be and really quiet. And you were a listener and that you would wait patiently for people to respond. And I just knew you were good people. So I wanted to be around that energy and I gravitated towards that. And I would have forced you to be my friend, whether you wanted it or not, because I actually just enjoy it. So there's that piece of that, right? Like I can tell when people are good and when people are not. And I can tell when people are just no. And like, you give me like bad juju and I don't want anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. I do think there's a lot of use in the industry that does not get reciprocated, and using words like exposure and follower gain and things like that. I almost want to chuckle because you're selling my image and you are selling my intellectual property to the people that you're exposing me to, but they're coming because you sold me. So like they already know, like, well, what am I going to get? 3 Instagram followers? Oh, well, they're going to sign up for your classes and they're going to do this and you're going to get exposure. They're already signing up for Michael. They're coming because I'm here.
Yeah.
So they already know who I am and they're already going to come. Now there's that spot between getting started and launching your pad, right? That place that's really beneficial for you, right? So like maybe you're just starting to educate and you have the credentials to do so, and you are trying to get that out there and things like that, and you live in that middle space. But then there's
in that middle space, you're not the headliner.
Right. Exactly. You are But when you are the headliner or you're being pulled in because they know that by having you, it's going to boost those ticket sales and do those things, there should be some compensation that goes the other way.
Right. Because then, like, let's say you're Drake, you're the headliner, right? And I don't know, somebody who's just coming up whose name we don't even know yet. And we are on the same billing. I owe you because the crowd is here because you are here.
Right.
I got it. So,
right. So now you got these conferences that are, selling these tickets and making money off of you and making money off of your billing. And yeah, there's that whole tier down here and it's not down. I don't mean to make that lower, but there's that whole, I'm an up and coming and I deserve to be here. But there's the people that they're using to sell the tickets because this tier is not going to do that.
Right.
This one is. So you better pay me to speak. You better pay me to show up. I am losing the time in my office and the things, and I'm giving away my intellectual property. This is all stuff that
they can sell.
Right. And continue to sell in perpetuity. Right. Because if you read your contracts, they own the content and etc. The videos, the replays. And there's no royalties for any of that. So,
I heard about you in a contract. I heard about you in a contract. I was chatting, having dinner with Jasmine Diebelious, who I'm absolutely obsessed with now.
She's amazing.
And she said somebody had sent her an email basically telling her what she could or couldn't do. And she happened to be with you at the time. She's panicking. And you said, pull up that contract right now. And you line item the contract and emailed him back and told him where to go. And I was like, won't she do it? Carla is friend to all. Carla is everywhere. And don't fuck with her business. That's where they get ruthless from because you hold no punches back. I love that.
And they were completely wrong. And they were doing it out of jealousy.
Retaliatory.
Yeah. And it was just a really disgusting display of non-professionalism. And yeah, no, I wasn't going to let that stand. And
there's so much of that in this industry. Retaliatory behavior, predatory behavior is out of control. In another industry,
I literally had somebody
sanctioned.
I literally just had somebody take my color theory class. Like it's still going actually on. They have like another 8 or 9 days. And it happened twice from the same group. One took it and turned it all into French and changed my squares into circles and is selling it online for $150. You never even graduated the program. And you literally just said to me in class and asked me a question. So if red and yellow are primary colors, when we mix it with black, we get a secondary color, right? What? Meanwhile, you're selling the bastardized copy of my work. Oh, by the way, it's patented, sweetheart. Yeah, you can't do that. And I had somebody else do it and then go live at a conference. They took all my actual color theory guide, which you have, right? And they cut the top off and the bottom off. So they cut off my logos and shit. Not only did they teach it at a conference, but they streamed it live.
To who?
Whoever was watching, whatever. I found it on Facebook. I was watching it live on Facebook. I'm watching this person.
You were watching your own shit be live streamed? What did you say? What did you do? Who do you call?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Literally everybody. Hell hath no fury. I literally called everybody. I was like, I called the conference. I called the conference coordinators.
I called the cops.
Yeah. I called the sponsors for the conference. I called everybody. And that's where burning no bridge helps you out, right? I may be ruthless and I may be savage, but I'm tying it to something. I am not using my preference and my opinion and parading it as fact.
Right.
It's backed and it's anchored. And people
as a matter of fact,
respond.
Your famous quote is that PMU is art founded in science. You're always founded in science. Something.
Always. Absolutely. And so is your business, right? It's your art founded in that's the fact of the science of running a business. And as long as you can anchor it to tangible, real things, and it's not just like
fugazi,
it'll work. Right. Exactly. I've had people write fake reviews all over my Google.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And not be smart enough to not tie that to their own actual business. I've had people send me glitter bombs to my office and not realize that the zip codes are traceable. I've had people bot my like Google ads and not realize that IP addresses are traceable.
Right.
Like, come for me, please. Have at it. Just
Don't
be smart enough
your
to cover
enemies while they're destroying themselves.
Have at it.
There's so many gems from this conversation.
Yeah. Like, you can be a wonderful, successful person, and you can be a good person.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Just be a good person.
Two things can be true at one time.
The success will come. It's not going to come overnight. It didn't come overnight for me. This is year 8, give or take.
Yeah.
My first 3 years, I barely made profit. Like, just be authentic and be yourself, and don't use your opinion to try and take anybody down, because that's not going to do you any good. Right. And like, who cares? Just be you. Just be yourself. Like, you don't need to interrupt anybody else's happiness to be successful. There is nothing uglier than trying to knock someone down who's in front of you so you can step over them and on them. There is nothing uglier than that.
That's one thing. You have made it very, very far in your career, but I've yet to find anyone that you stomped on to do it. And I read a lot about you.
Nobody. It's not necessary. I would much rather reach out to that person and maybe do something with them.
Yeah.
Jasmine Diebelious, Amanda Rachna, Natasha Beauty Dreams. These are some of my biggest competitors, right?
Right.
As far as students go, as far as
the Carla Jasmine sandwich is what I want to be the meat in between. I want
bologna all day. Let's do it. Taryn, darling, some of the OGs, the ladies over at the SPCP, everyone over at the AAM. Like, these are people that, so what do I do? Come on, guys, let's collaborate, right? I don't need to say what you do is wrong. Tess, Marty, Tess Tattoo, like,
yeah.
These are people that most people would be trying to, I don't know, knock off their pedestal to replace, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to replace them. They bring beautiful benefit to the industry in their own words and in their own way and in their own talent and in their own right. So do I. Yeah. So imagine what that looks like together.
Magic.
That's explosive. I don't need to blow it up. I want to blow up with you.
Yeah.
And, I get there's community over competition and all that, blah, 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 Shay, and the whole group, but that's not almost the right sentence, right? It's collaboration over competition, because community says something community is almost a weaker link. Like, I don't need to be your Biffy. We don't need to have a conversation every 5 days. And like, I know about your whole life and this and that and the other thing, but I do know that we both get to a really great place and we both do it our unique way. So instead of trying to split the donkey, like, how about we hee-haw together all the way down the path?
I can't wait to hee-haw with you, Carla.
Hee-haw.
Hee-haw. All right, my friend. Where can people find you? Where can they collaborate with you?
Instagram's the easiest. Sculpted Studios. That's me. They can also find all the studio pages. So Sculpted Studios New York, Sculpted Studios Miami, Sculpted Studios Phoenix. I'm always around. You can find more information at sculptedstudios.com on the classes and the things we do here at the studio. But yeah, you want to have a conversation with me. Instagram is my easiest. I am a Facebook infant. Like, I can barely find where my Facebook Messenger is half of the time. So if you Facebook message me, chances are it's going to go into a void I may not find. I don't even know how to like really do that well. So Instagram's always the easiest. And yeah, reach me anytime.
So the day of this episode, I actually filmed bumpers, but I don't know what happened to them. Anyway, I want to give a very, very, very special and heartfelt thank you to Carla Ricciardone for joining us on the GlamLife Podcast. I also want to thank her even more for being so generous and donating an entire in-person seat to her Ultimate Lips class to one lucky attendee of the Christmas conference happening December 15th. If you don't have your ticket for that yet, note 2 things. 1, it is free. 2, you are automatically entered to win a class with Carla Ricciardone and her Sculpted Studios class, the Ultimate Lips course. So run and grab that now. And head on over to shopbrowsister.com to support the site that supports this podcast. I'll see you next week. Bye.